as a representative platform of developed economies and emerging economies. Representative and inclusive, I say so because the earlier platforms, which were there for a long time, addressing or responding to global economic challenges, were in true sense not representative of the contemporary global realities. Those platforms represented the order which emerged after the Second World War. Much has changed in the world. There is a definite shift of capital, and the economic growth which is coming from countries other than the industrialized countries, perhaps close to half of the global economic growth is coming from these countries. And many regions are playing an important role which has to be recognized and acknowledged. I was mentioning yesterday, in the next 5 years or so, less than a decade definitely, 5 of the major economies the world will see. Out of those 5, 3 will be from Asia alone. And both India and China will be one of those 3 economies. Therefore, G20 as a platform can be effective in addressing issues concerning trade, issues concerning liberalization of markets, and also responding to the economic challenges as it did the time of the economic crisis, a well-coordinated foreign response by the leaders of the G20 countries. Their coordination, intervention did help in bringing about a measure of stability to the global economy. And those who have looked at it closely may agree that had that not been the case, then what was a recession could have slipped into depression, and the recovery as such may not have been as quick as we've seen.
Mr. Minister, I think that's a widely shared view, and you're correct. Let me ask a quick follow-up, if I may. It goes to the question that was put to the panel. As you think ahead to the next G20 summit in Seoul, less than 2 months now, would it be useful to you as a trade minister and to all of those who are trying to bring the WTO Doha round back into active progress and to a successful conclusion, would it be helpful to you if the G20 leaders would take more specific instructions to you and your trade minister colleagues to pursue the services part of the Doha round? If they were to suggest, for example, that you go quickly into a request and offer procedure so as to jumpstart the services part of the talks, and therefore, as some of your colleagues on the panel have said, to jumpstart the round itself. Would it be useful if the heads of government at Seoul got into a bit more of the specifics of the Doha round in an effort to move it forward? Would that help the process?
Well, what will help the process is a very clear mandate by the heads of the governments and heads of states. Not getting into the specifics, but giving a very clear direction to the ministers and to the chief negotiators. As we said that all 3 are critical to take it to a final conclusion. Services sector as such will prove to be a catalyst and give the much needed momentum. At the same time, we have to remember that this G20 summit has addressed the issue of the round of WTO. London summit commented briefly, but that was in a very painful backdrop. April 2009 was not a good time to comment. Then Pittsburgh summit was more specific. There was a loud reaffirmation, and beyond that, as to what the leaders of the developed countries had said at Aquila. Toronto summit again has commented. Fortunately, like last time, the ministers have not been directed, but we have been directed and redirected. This time, the ministers have been asked to make progress, and ministers have been summoned for the next G20 in Seoul. And the ministers and the chief negotiators have to work within the parameters of the mandates, and mandates also are given by government after stakeholders' inputs, whether it's the industry, it is in the society. What is needed is to go for the last plan. That's the end game, as Pastor Rami says it, because most of the issues have been settled. It's not that progress has not been made. Services and other issues, including if 20-25% is left, that can be done. And we hope that the coming G20 summit will give a very clear mandate to be given by the heads of the principal interlocutors and stakeholders.
Secretary Ferrari.
Yeah, just very fast. I believe that we need to improve the understanding of the services sector and develop the metrics that will allow us to correctly measure the contribution to our economy around the world due to the importance of services in the majority of the economies and its weight in our trade. It is essential to have international dialogue on this. I do believe this is very important. And I was wondering when we were talking about Australia, I'm in that regard, I'm very pleased to announce the launch of the Mexican Coalition of Services next October, which means that Australia and Mexico are just entering into those discussions also to have this clout and this importance for negotiations. So that means that we are still in the need of deep discussions on this. I do believe that it's a very, very visionary moment in which we're having this summit and these discussions in order to put on the table a real discussion on what those services means for the economy of the world.
To conclude this panel and back to the question on the lobbying, I'd just like to make one final remark as the only U.S. citizen on the platform. Lord Brittan referred earlier to the stark disparity between the domestic politics that were going on, at least toward the end of the Uruguay round, when the CEOs and business leaders were pounding on their government officials to bring it to a successful conclusion, and what has been happening, at least in this country, during the course of the Doha round. Despite the excellent work done by CSI, a number of the companies in this room, the pressure and priority has not been there. And as I said at the outset, I think it's fairly easy to explain that. It's because of the lack of ambition in the agreement to date. So we have to keep in mind it's a chicken and egg thing, where you need more lobbying pressure to get the results, but the key people are only going to lobby if they think actionable and important and significant results are out there. So I always say to my friends from other countries who frequently remark that they would like to see more leadership from the United States and more active engagement by the United States, well, to get that, there's going to have to be more on the table, particularly in services. And so it is a chicken and egg thing, but if the negotiations produce a roughly doubling of the outcome, as our study at least suggests, how the Australian study does too, a doubling of the potential outcome from where it has been to date, I think you can be assured that that will attract a good deal of additional attention from American business leaders and others, and you'll get a much greater engagement and support for the whole enterprise. So the two sides and the interaction between them has to be kept much in mind as we proceed. But it's a critical question, and how that relationship is handled is essential. Let me thank the ministers very warmly for making such a major contribution to the debate. Once again, thanks to all of you, Bill, the CSI, Rob Jesse, for sponsoring. Meeting adjourned.